Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany. I'm an international spiritual healer, mystic teacher, and the course director at the New Earth Alchemist Academy. In this video, I wanted to share with you what it really means when you're experiencing psychic attacks or negative entity attachments. And a lot of people sometimes can blame the person that's experiencing these psychic attacks or negative entity attachments. And in my perspective and from my experiences, I really think that the number one thing that we need to do is to really release the blame either on the person or on yourself. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you've done something wrong or that you're broken. It is a common experience. And in fact, in this video, you'll find out some of the reasons why this is not something to be ashamed of, why this is not something to be afraid of, and why this is something that can actually be used to empower yourself. First thing that I want to bring your awareness to is the karmic law, as above, so below. So we are in physical form right now, and when you look around yourself, there are things that you like to interact with, such as animals, beautiful birds, deers, rabbits, cats, and dogs. And there are also creatures that you might not want to interact with as much, maybe rats or cockroaches. And so there's always this duality in our existence, and you can see it really clearly with our physical eyes. Given that in the astral realm, there's also something that cannot be seen with the physical eye. It is something that is experienced energetically or seen through the third eye. So in the other realms, there's also entities that you like interacting with, such as archangels, angels, ascended masters, God. And then there's also these lower vibrational entities that some of them, yes, could cause quite some harm to a specific person. Some of them I find are more like mischievous entities, just kind of want to start some trouble, but more like a playful sense rather than like a malicious sense. So what I'm trying to say is that even though you might be experiencing or have experienced a psychic attack or negative entity attachment, it doesn't always mean that you are misaligned or that you are in a lower vibrational state. It's not really like that. It really just means that these are entities that exist within this universe, and you're going to run into them just like in real life. You're going to run into birds, you're going to run into flies and things that you don't like, right? But it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It's just the nature of the universe. And even a very powerful healer, a very high vibrational being can experience psychic attack or interactions with negative entity as well. So I need you to release those beliefs and thought patterns of fearing about these experiences, because you are your own healer and there's ways for you to heal yourself and release yourself from these experiences. So number one, it means that you are an inherent healer. A lot of healers become healers because of their own journey, healing themselves of their trauma, of their emotional wounds, of their struggle. And that is what the term wounded healer comes from. And so if you have experienced this in the past or if it's experiencing it now, come to the realization that there's a master healer within you that wants to be unleashed and wants to be acknowledged. And so it is time for you to believe and trust in your ability that you are not at the mercy of these attacks or these entities. You are much more powerful than them, and nothing can take anything away from you if you don't want them to. And I'll give you an example. If you watched some of my previous video on astral entities, I used to struggle with depression, and there was this voice in my head that would always say really negative thoughts about me, like I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. And one day I was just having I was just had enough. And so I was on the floor, I was crying. It was almost like this crazy, cathartic, spiritual awakening experience. And I said, if there's a God out there, if there's Jesus, if, archangels are hearing me right now, please help me. Please help me get rid of this voice. I can't take it anymore. It's so painful. And all of a sudden, I saw this bright white light through my third eye. And all of a sudden, I felt this opening that happened towards my heart. And there was a moment of peace. And I stopped crying. And it just felt so loved. And I was in this euphoric state. And ever since that day, that voice has not bothered me anymore. Another healer, Pete Bernard, he's a shaman, and he shared with me his story how when he was a kid, he used to have this entity that would pin him down on his bed, and it happened through all throughout his life for like 30 years. And when he was 30 years old, he finally had enough, and instead of just being disempowered by the entity, he used his consciousness to morph the gravitational field of his room and pin the entity on the room and say, how do you like this now? And after the experience, the next day he went outside, and in the clouds he saw an image of that entity in the clouds. Of course, there's more to this story. This is just a short version, but really a healer is someone that overcome an entity, overcome a psychic attack, learn how to transmute it, empower themselves. And when you become really advanced, you can actually help that entity ascend as well. So release them from their own struggle. Number two, this can mean that you are a medium. So what would happen to me is that sometimes I would sense a spirit, right? The spirit doesn't necessarily mean they are malicious spirit. It's just lost soul. Sometimes people pass away and they may not know that they have passed away. So they're wandering in this realm, not really knowing where they are. And so I find that sometimes at night, or even when I'm just walking into certain places, these spirits would come to me. And at first I would get like really scared. I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? I want to work with angels. I don't want to work with spirits and ghosts. I'm scared. But then slowly I realized that there's nothing to be afraid of. They are another form of existence. So I started to just ask them, like, is there something that I can help you? Granted, I already have some healer training, so I already have a basic understanding and spiritual protection to do this work. So I asked them, is there something that you need? Are you lost? And sometimes they say they are, and I would just call Buddha or call Jesus to please bring the spirit into where it needs to go to help it ascend or to cross over. And a lot of people are naturally doing this already. I've talked to a lot of clients who did this at a young age. And so this could mean that you are a medium, helping spirits cross over to the other side. And number three is that you are a beacon of light. The more powerful you become, the more light you have in your body. Just like moth being attracted to a bright light in the night sky, you are that beacon of light for a lot of these entities. So some of them might not have really ill mean, and a lot of them actually don't. They're just lost. They are unconscious. They don't understand. So a lot of master healers, they start to find themselves attracting these entities, but because they realize how much power they have, they can quickly transmute these energies. If someone is, unconsciously, subconsciously, psychic attacking them, these healers can quickly shift out of that vibration and say, okay, what is this energy about? Is it mine? No. Well, I don't like this energy. It's heavy. I'm going to transmute it right now into the light. If there's an entity that comes, well, why are you here? What is your purpose? Is there anything that I can do for you? Whenever an entity comes into my field, I give them three choices. You can say the way you are, and I'm going to leave this place, or you can be transformed. You can work with me, with the Ascended Masters, with angels, and go on into your journey. But you're not allowed to take my energy. You're not allowed to interfere with my well-being. So I declare my energetic boundary that way. And it gets easier and easier as you become more powerful, as you become more confident in your abilities. Given that if you are blue-ray starseed, such as myself, or if you have a lot of blue or purple colors in your aura, you will tend to attract more of these experiences. And once again, it's not because there's something wrong with you. It just means that you have this innate ability to transmute. You're an alchemist, you're a healer, you can transform this energy. And what a lot of blue-ray starseeds or people who are healers, they don't understand is they don't realize that they have this power. And so I'm telling you right now, you have this power in you. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Let go of any fear and programming that movies or sometimes religions might put into your mind. And let the entity go with love. If there's nothing that you can do with the entity, just say, you know what, I let you go with love. But I'm respecting my space now. You can also affirm your boundaries as well. You can call in the higher dimensional entities such as Jesus, Buddha, or God or Source to come and help you. So hopefully this video have helped you gain more empowerment and confidence to know that you can overcome these experiences, and it will only make you stronger. And if you are struggling, it's a good idea to reach out to a master healer, reach out to someone that you really trust, someone that you feel safe with, so that you can go through a healing journey and to just release whatever doesn't belong to you out of your auric field, so you can make more room for more light. You are a divine light being. I send you so much love, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.